guys, and welcome back to this tutorial. So in the previous section we had the look at user interface and making sure that all the elements were displayed in the right place. In this part of the tutorial we're going to start to look at the second scene and create a minimap. So again, a minimap is basically a feature whereby you can see most of the scene through a camera that will be just above you or above the player. Alright, so to do so we're going to use the main camera that has been deactivated so far, and again I'm going to activate it, change its name. So again I'm going to call it maybe top view camera, and what I will do is take it and drag and drop it on top of the first person controller. And the idea is that this camera, which is now a child of the first person controller, will move with the player. So that's the very first thing. The next thing is that I just want to make sure that I'm going to display the content of this camera on screen. So there are two things that I need to do for this camera. The first thing is I need this camera to be above the player, way above the player. So again I'm going to use maybe 50. And then I just want to make sure that this camera is looking down. So again I'm going to put 90 there. So again you might see part of the view captured by the camera right there. The next thing that I need to do is, if you look at the game view right now, you will only see the content captured by the camera that is linked to the first person controller. So again, if you look at this first person character here, you have a camera there, and that's the camera, that's the content of the camera that you can see right now. You will also see what is called a depth. So the depth of the camera, if you have two cameras, the camera with the higher depth, the content of the camera with the higher depth will be displayed atop the content of the other camera. So to give you an idea here, I cannot see the content displayed by my camera called top view camera. However, if I change the depth to this camera to maybe 2, you can see that now the content is displayed. Okay, it's right there. The only thing is there are two things to modify. The first one was the depth, and the second one is the viewport. So again, right now you can see that the content of a camera, suppose, is displayed on screen based on the viewport. So again, it has a position and a width. So right now it's going to take the full screen, which we don't actually want to. So again, what I am going to do is change the position. So again, or the width to start with. So again, it's going to be 20.25, and again 0.25 for the height. You can see that now the content of the second camera, which is called top view camera, is displayed right here. And again, what I will do is change the position maybe to 0.75 and 0. So again, those numbers are comprised between 0 and 1, so it's a percentage of the width or the height of your screen. So in this case it will start at 3/4 of the screen width, and again have about 1/4 and 1/4 on the width and 1/4 on the height. So again, this is the information that you can see. Now the next part is for this top view camera as well. You can see that it's not exactly above the player. So again, what I need to do is to make sure that I put 0 there and 0 for the Z. Those are relative position. So again, what I'm saying is that this camera has the same X and Z that the player, because 0 relative 0 in relation to the player, but it's 50 meters above the player. And you can see that the content of the camera right now. And again, I'm going to play the scene just to show you that it works. And if I play the scene, what you should see is the content of this camera displayed in the bottom right corner. As I move along, by the way, you can see that the content of the camera is updated as well. Okay, so again, it is actually working. All right, so again, a very interesting and nice feature. It's very simple to implement. Again, the idea is to create a second camera that is pointing down, that is above the player, and again, make sure that the viewport and the depth are set properly. So depth of this camera should be higher than the other ones, and the actual viewport also should be arranged so that the content displayed by this camera is basically in the bottom right corner of the screen.